Yeah, I think we were pretty accurate in our evaluation after the game. I think on offense, the turnovers, and really our red zone game, if you want to be specific, kind of hurt us in terms of not being able to answer. I mean, the turnovers speak for themselves, and we get 2 touchdowns and then kind of go backwards once they get pulled off the board, and that was real frustrating to not be able to answer. We thought we were making some progress there in the red zone, so that hurt. And I think our defense did a pretty admirable job. I think the one critique that we had was, just tackling better. I think that Booker and Travis Wilson are both good runners. I mean, we saw that certainly, last year even with Booker. But then Travis Wilson is, again, I mean, part of his game is making you miss, and he's a hard guy to tackle. Not only to tackle, but he can, being so tall and long, you don't think of those guys as being hard guys to tackle, but we saw it on tape, and it was hard for us in those third down, scrambled a couple times, and on the goal line. And but I do, I'm pleased with how hard these guys play. I really am. They're working their tail off, and it's frustrating to all, but they've really given great effort, all year long, and you can see some improvements.
What's your status? Are you going to brace the knee, or are you day-to-day, or what?
I know the plays, obviously, and so when I think they're coming towards me, I get out of the, I'm like, I'm not standing here. There's a chance the ball can come here, and I don't know why I didn't move out, and sure enough, good thing Jadon kind of rolled half speed into me, or I probably wouldn't be here today. I'm fine.
Did you stat guys give you an assist or a tackle or anything like that?
No, they didn't. It was very pathetic. I don't think that they would, I barely laid on him.
You have a game like that, and obviously there was relatively small handful, but critical, painful mistakes in the form of fumbles, so on. How do you handle that as a staff with players to not discourage them too much, but to point out any errors, any things they can do to avoid that?
I think we put, as a staff, we really try to put it on ourselves. I mean, and so how do we tighten it up in practice? How do we coach them better? I mean, sometimes it can come down to some playing time, but we're certainly not into trying to discourage guys and those type of things. We understand turnovers are part of the game, but when they're too much, which it was, I mean, but we always kind of go back to us, and it's like, what do we need to do here? And, we talked during the week a ton about tackling, turnovers, and special teams. And that's day one message when you play your first game. And so we went back to that just because so late in the season, those things start to slide. And so we were on it. We just didn't get it done on those 3 areas to be, on point. And so that's a little frustrating that we kind of thought we were on it, and we didn't coach them good enough to tighten those areas up.
What's the coaching point for Braden on that big play he got called for?
Yeah. You need to be very, very careful because, that's a point of emphasis that they're looking to call those things. And so you just need to run your route and post up. You can't be kind of trying to back into guys and those type of things.
The just slight edge backward was what he shouldn't have done. That's what you're asking him to do differently.
That's correct.
What did you see from the film on the Gaskets touchdown run that was called back?
Yeah, it's probably a good call. Didn't need to do, I think the lineman's trying to finish a block. And, when they get a chance to do that, they always do that. But sometimes you can twist guys and those type of things.
What are the mechanics between you guys and the Pac-12 offices in terms of the process of getting feedback when you ask for clarification so that you can coach it? How does that all work?
We submit any plays that we just want them to give us feedback on. And it's not all, we try not to just submit things that were like, to try to go in our favor. Like if we think our guys committed a penalty and it wasn't called, but they look at all the plays supposedly anyways, but there's a handful of plays that we'll always turn on and say, can you give us some, and they always respond to us.
More in this game maybe than on average?
No, I think there's probably just more that you guys saw, but I don't think there's more than we normally put in.
Coach, I know the focus is on ASU right now, but you have a chance to become bowl eligible if you win 2 out of 3. Can you just speak to the significance of getting to that point in general?
Well, I think it's always important, to try to get an extra game without question. And so I think that's always in the back of everybody's mind. But I think you said it best. It's really not about that. It's just really, I think everybody gets that, but it's just really about us building some skill and, taking care of some of the things that we've been discussing here. And if we can do that, then that'll work out. But yeah, we don't really, the regular season, there's very few days left for this team to kind of be together. When you really look at the days on the calendar, it is very, very few. And so it's going to go fast. Every day, every hour that we're together matters. And if we can do that, it's, we'll have a chance to play another game.
You've had more experience than you'd like for this team coming off losses, obviously, but how have they responded in general?
In general, really well. Yeah, I say that really well. Nobody, it's almost a weird question, because you don't really want them to respond well. You know what I'm saying?
I guess what I'm
Sunday's hard. We bring them in here. Everybody's irritated. Everybody's not good. I'm not good. I'm getting tired of talking to them about, hey, this is what we got to do. I think they're getting tired of hearing me. But I like these guys, and they've responded every time. I think they get it. I think they hear us. It's it's just hard that we play in this type of conference, that everybody's really good. The team we're playing this week, you don't pay attention to their record, that's for sure. These guys could beat anybody in our league, and they've had chances to beat everybody that they've played. And their style is really, really awkward and hard, certainly on, our offense against their defense. They do a lot on. And so there's no breaks. You just kind of keep coming back and reloading. And that's what they've done. And so we got to do it again.
What is so challenging, unique, different about their defensive scheme? Obviously, they're
they just bring so much different pressure. They're more aggressive than most. It can be 3rd and 15, and they're going to bring everybody. Where most everybody's going to say, hey, we're going to make sure, go ahead and complete that little pass, we're going to come tackle you. They're one of the leaders, if not the leaders, in negative plays. They're one of the, top 4 or 5 in the country in sacks. Really good against the run, because not only are they bringing pressure, with pressure becomes line games. And so they're hard to block. We felt that last year in the game where we really couldn't throw it because of the weather, that wind. And so that's their style. That's what they do.
similar to what you saw with Utah State, just in terms of the aggressiveness, or?
I think they're more aggressive. Yeah, certainly a different scheme for sure, but they're into more pressure than Utah State, I think.
Chris, you have any update on Buda Baker at all, or Trey, or Elijah, any of those guys?
Yeah, all those guys I think are they're not bad. No, whether they go or not, we'll see. But we're encouraged.
Obviously, this is a young team. You've said before that it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Where do you think you are compared to maybe where you thought you'd be before the season started?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I don't really think like before the season, you know. I think we're close, you know. I think we've made some strides. I think our defense has played at a pretty winnable level all year, and I think the last couple of weeks we've made some strides on offense. And so I think that's the one thing you always want to feel as a coach. Are we making progress? Are these guys playing as close to their potential as they can? I don't know if we're playing as close to our potential because we're inconsistent. At times you see those flashes, you go, okay, this is really pretty good football, but it's inconsistent, and so maybe that is the potential of this team because of some of the guys we have right now. But I think the encouraging thing is we feel like there's growth there. We feel like certain guys are getting better. A little bit of the issue is a certain guy will get better on this play and this guy didn't get better. And putting those two together can kind of hurt us. But, we got a month left of regular season football. Really important month, for us to continue to grow. And, if we can do that, I think we'll feel better about things. And, our hat will really be off to these kids for the hard, continue to persist through all this hardness, because we talk to them all the time. I mean, a lot of guys can't. I mean, they invest so much in this, and we haven't had the results that we want. And really, probably there's a lot of guys that haven't ever worked this hard in their life, and now they are, and it's still at the end of the day not really what we want. And so eventually people just start to back off. And so if we can stay strong for this next month and keep after it, it's really all we can ask from these guys.
To watch film on Sunday, what's that process like? Are there a few things that you're particularly interested to play back a few times? How long does it take you to watch the game? What's that kind of look like?
We usually give, we start with our special teams and spend close to a half hour watching all those. We break some of it into small groups so we can cover more ground in more detail. And then we go into offense, defense for approximately an hour, maybe a little bit less. Coaches, depending on the game, may watch the entire thing, or they may pull out selected clips of points of emphasis, good and bad. And then we go onto the field, and we do some fundamental things, but we also do some correct and review stuff from the game.
Utah's last drive to the touchdown, they ran the ball 9 times.
Yep.
Did you think your guys just sort of wore down?
I thought it kind of showed up a little bit that that's where you probably saw some of the tackling when they were really running 9 times in a row. Usually we can swell up and stop some guys, and at that point, I did feel like we were wore down a little bit. I don't know if it was mentally, physically, combination of both those things, but kind of felt that, and yeah.
Chris, when's the point in the season when maybe the youth thing doesn't become an issue anymore? 9 games,
Yeah.
A lot of experience through those games. Do you ever kind of get to a point where it's like, okay, youth, we can't
Yeah.
talk about youth anymore?
Yeah, and we don't even talk to our guys about that. You guys are the ones that, it is what it is. I mean, this is the team we have. And so we don't ever talk about that's an excuse. That word doesn't even come up in our meetings. It's like, this is what we need to do. And so along those lines, it's about just getting better. And, how fast we can accelerate that curve is what we're trying to do every single day. And I'm tired of talking about it. I mean, we just need to execute better, perform better.
Standpoint, though, in terms of game planning, is there a point where you feel like, okay, now we should be able to throw anything we want at them? So the learning curve is done, kind of.
Yeah. And I think, it's not like we're going to come up and invent a new scheme, a whole new scheme this time of year. So there's some wrinkles that we'll add in that I think that they can handle, that the coaches are pretty sharp about not overloading them mentally. I think that I think mentally our guys are fairly on it when we're out there. That's one of the things we pay close attention to. If we're making a bunch of mental mistakes, that truly is on us as coaches. We're not teaching them good enough. We're giving them too much. And so, and even slowing them down so they can't react. They might get to their assignment, but they're just a day late and a dollar short. And so again, that's a little bit more concerning. But they don't make a ton of just assignment busts. It's more of just a physical thing, a technique thing, a fundamental thing. There's more of those things, and which is what you'd probably expect when you're playing some other pretty good guys.
When we were watching this game from where we are, it looked like, and this is a little different team than you played against, at least the quality and
talking
everything.
about Utah?
There were some, talk about consistency, there looked like there was maybe concentration things on occasion with receivers, maybe not handling a few passes here and there that looked like they could be handled, and some of the blocking on the edges weren't quite what we saw last couple weeks. Any comments on that? Or
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm not sure why the blocking wasn't what it was supposed to be. We've kind of spent a little bit of time on that, and you put tape on, and I think we're better than that. And, you know, I think you're going to always have a drop or two. You hate them when they're like strike point balls. Yeah, concentration things. I think that's what it is.
Sacks, what did you see on those, and are they, I don't know, repeated mistakes, or are they throughout the season, or are they new things?
I think it's guys getting beat physically, you know, for the most part. Trying to think, you know, a couple of them. I mean, Utah's got a pretty formidable front seven, and I don't think there was too many times that Jake could have cut it loose, you know, giving him a chance to see some things or just get rid of it. Yeah, we need to tighten up the protection and in a hurry, because Arizona State can even create more problems than just you know, with this style.
We talked a lot about this in September with Browning's running ability, elusiveness that surprised even you guys, I guess, coming into this season. I mean, you like to see that. Obviously, he needs to be out there and make plays, but it seemed like he was as effective as he's been.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, I think that's a really added bonus. And I think it's part of the game. I mean, if you have a guy, it seems like nobody, I don't know if there's any guy that college football today, I know there's a few out there, but that just stand there and can't run. And he's really proved that he can be an effective scrambler. You know, he gets right up the field and then goes down. He also can keep the, you know, and I think when he's escaping outside the pocket, keeps his eyes downfield. Now, that's not, he's a pocket passer, but I think he's grown in that area. And heck, I don't even know if he knew he could scramble that well. I don't think he had to do that in high school. So he's done a great job in terms of those things.
The Lindquist package, it seems like we're seeing even more of it. Doesn't seem like it maybe getting the results that
And I don't think that's on Jeff, you know, really don't, in terms of what we had going in the Utah game. I mean, I think he did what he was supposed to do. And, you know, I think I mentioned this after the game, and we really studied some of that short yardage situation, and they're darn good in those short yardage situations. And so, hey, we'll continue to analyze. We like to try to get everybody involved somehow, some way, and use his skills.
Had started freshman in the O-line, started freshman quarterback, started freshman running back, then guys in the end. Have you had to adjust your coaching based on trying not to cram too much into these guys' heads?
You talking about like game plan wise and all that stuff? You know, I think certainly early on I think as coaches, you're always counting numbers and like how many plays are going into the game plan. I mean, we're very specific about that. You know, rundowns, second and long, third and whatever, it's all categorized. And so we know the numbers that go in there. And then we also pay attention to, okay, this week, how many of these things are new? And what I mean new, I mean, that could be a gray area. Have we had this concept before, this formation before, this little tweak before? But we look at that all the time. So first and foremost, we need to not overload our guys and not give them a chance to play fast. I think that we're at the point of the season that they've seen a lot of our adjustments and a lot of the concepts that we haven't really been, you know, overly concerned about giving them too much mentally, because we do pay close attention to it. But I don't think we've gone into a game in the last handful of games going, man, I wish we could do this. I mean, I think we always say that no matter what team we've had, no matter how experienced, there's always that point. It's like, okay, is 2-3 days going to be enough to really get good at this? Because who knows what look they're going to give you. I mean, that's the thing to me that's changed so much in terms of like defensive football. 7 years ago, the offenses used to sit there and just dial them up. I mean, you could get them. And nowadays, they got smarter. They changed their stuff. They know they're looking at each other, and so if you got them on somebody got them on some stuff, they're going to correct that problem, and they're not going to give you the same look. Or if they do, they know how to fix things. And so half the time, you're trying to game plan them and dial them up, and that's not even the look you get. So you need to be able to prepare. You put something new. Yeah, how many reps you going to get on that new play? And so it's always about that. We count reps tremendously, and how many times did we get that rep during the week, whether it's new or not. And so that's a big part of what we do during the week.
On that, how often during the season versus the beginning of the season, and youth is a factor, and strength and experience and everything, do you as a staff and you as a head coach look at, okay, what's our real capability? You want to ask guys to do stuff that isn't a strength or maybe they can't do. Is that something you're looking at and talking about all season long as you think about what to put in and out?
Absolutely. And so what I think, there's enough plays out there. There's so many good plays. I mean, that's one of the problems coaches have. Love that play. Oh, I'd like to get that one in too. So we look at it and say, you know what, that's probably, this guy's going to be a key guy on this play, and that may not be his strength, whether it's in the O-line, whatever. Let's not go that direction. We got other things that we can get to that'll be better. And so we do look at that. I mean, we really do. I know at times it looks like we don't even do any game planning. We don't even study tape for how it looks out there. But there's a lot of long hours here trying to get this thing right.
Last week, the sign stealing stuff was a hot button topic. Playing ASU now.
Yeah.
Is that a concern? Do you have to change anything? What you're doing on the sideline?
Yeah, we'll pay close attention to it. I think we're still kind of formulating our plan a little bit as well. Yeah. It's hard enough, just to get them in the right, but if they know what you're doing or think they know what you're doing, it can be even more an advantage for them.
Taking any drones down there or anything like that?
Not taking drones. Might take a few other things, though.
More common than maybe the average fan might realize, stealing signs. Does that happen more than?
I just think certain guys, have done that, and that's part of their deal, and others don't worry about it, think it's not going to give them advantage, and they just got to get their guys lined up, and so I think everybody's a little bit different.
ASU's offense, how would you characterize them, and is there a point of comparison to a team that you guys have played this year?
Possibly Utah State. They're a multiple formation team. Really good play. They have a really good run game. I think they're a multiple team. You'll see a lot of different things. They get back to the things they do well in the run game, but it's not just three things. There's a handful of things that they get back to. They'll formation it, and then they got a really good play action game off it. So I would say that might be a team that they're fairly comparable to. Maybe a little bit of Boise as well in terms of some of those things. Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you, guys.